So for today's video, and probably the next couple videos that I'm going to release over the next few days, I just wanted to go back to playing, good quality ladder decks. As you can see, we're a ways into this season and I still haven't hit Legend because basically I went to rank 2 really fast and then I played a bunch of memes and tested a bunch of stuff after that. So I'm in the mood and I've got the itch to just play quote-unquote like serious ladder decks, and so we're gonna do that today and probably for the next couple of days. We're gonna start today's video with everybody's favorite deck. It's really complex. I am joking, of course. I call it Traitorous Warrior. It's Traitor Joe's like mid-grow warrior, I think is what he calls it as well, because there's a lot of mid-range elements, but it's also, basically an aggro deck. Like when your curve essentially tops out at 5, 6, if you count the Jarls, but those are really just card draw. That's kind of an aggro deck, but it's an aggro deck with a lot of high statted minions that you would traditionally see in mid-range decks because it's warrior. So you get the aggressive parts of strength and you get the high stat parts of endurance. So just like I normally do for my quick gameplay things, we're going to play 2 games, win or lose, and see how they go, and hopefully well. To kind of showcase the deck, the list. So right out of the gate, we don't want any of those. You can make an argument for Bleak Coast Troll because we have the ring if we already had a 2 and a 3 drop, right? If we knew we were going to go 2, 3, 4, then that might be worth keeping, but right now we're going to send everything back. And there we go. So this isn't like the best 2-drop to lead off with, but it's better than nothing. I do like the Barrow Stalkers in this because they help kind of ensure that you're going to trigger your Jarls, and against other aggressive decks throwing like Steel Scimitar or something similar on that can really turn things around. If you don't like the Barrow Stalkers because of the health gain, you could run something like Protector of the Innocent. It's a little more aggressive. Alright. And let's see here, I should probably do my stat tracking stuff. So we are going second against Scout. Pretty high probability that this is Control Scout.
For a midnight stroll.
They are running the bats and so forth.
Come on then.
Let's just go ahead and get that off the board. Could have played something like Withered Hand, but Withered Hand is actually interesting because it doesn't impact Control Scout the same way that it does something like Control Mage.
I'll cleave your skull.
And let's go this here. Because most of the actions that Scout runs are already cheap. So, Withered Hand is still an annoyance, but probably gonna, hit the Barrow Stalker, trade with the bigger minion, but I think we're fine with that, if I'm being entirely honest.
I'll cleave your skull.
Wrong place for a midnight stroll.
Tawaka watches over me.
I smell the stench.
He'll get this trade here, but we
living.
load up the one lane. It's still a couple of turns away from Red Brahmin, so lane stacking isn't as big of a deal. They could drain Vitality us, right, if they have multiples, or, do the word wall drain.
Mother of mud.
Like, worst case scenario would be, what? Word wall, drain. That's it, really. That's all they could do because the drain would be costing 3 due to the Withered Hand. So yeah, we're in a pretty good spot right here. Sufficient pressure. You'll notice that we are kind of like stacking the field lane, and that's just because we've had absolutely no reason to split, minus taking out the bat. Just because we wanted to prevent them draining and, us trying to race uphill. If you don't have any reason to go over here, it's usually best practice to stack here, unless you suspect something that will punish you. So against like Mage, if you suspect they might be running like Immolating Blast, because you might think it's like Singleton Mage and they typically include it or something, then maybe you split, but most of the time, it's best practice to stack up until turns like 6 or 7-ish. And that's just because after that point you start getting into potential Unstoppable Rage combos, potential Dawn's Wrath, etc., etc. So we have 3, 6, 8 damage. We do not have enough to play 2. So we can't swing and then try to take the roll there. So I think we end up just taking value trades and probably dropping Bleak Coast.
Wrong place for a midnight stroll.
That seems the most appropriate here.
A dark omen for you.
We trade with these two not just because they do the least amount of damage, but they're also the ones we're okay with damage on. We don't want damage on this in case they have a Leaf Lurker. And if they do have, you know, drains or other Murkwaters, killing this is entirely acceptable. This will just buff something else, losing the smallest creature. And there you have it. So, pretty straightforward. That's probably a favored matchup. Although, to be fair, this deck is really good just in general, let alone right now. And in that matchup, so it's kind of hard to find something you're not favored. And we'll jump into game 2. Like I said, I want to play a couple of games. I'm just adding some stuff to my stat tracking. Sorry, gang. Don't mean to be so distracted. And let's see how we do it again. So yeah, field lane, snowball your position. This is not 100% the same as say like mid-range sorcerer, which I do plan on playing probably later this week, or at least in a video that comes out later this week. Mid-range sorcerer cares a little bit more about direct board control. This one's a little more aggressive because it has the reach. So this goes back for sure. Because we're in the ring, I'm really tempted to keep these, but we desperately need a 2-drop, and this is only one throwback. So as sad as it is, and as much as I love the Bleak Coast here, I think you send these 2 back. You don't go all in looking for 2-drops, but... And, you know, sadly the first one back was a 2-drop, but just because it would have been okay there doesn't make that the correct play there, you know?
The stench of the living.
Something can be right 9 times out of 10, and then you could like take your gut feeling, play,
Wrong place for
get it right once. Still doesn't make it the correct play. We could have played another 2-drop there and saved a ring charge, but by doing it this way, that allows us to potentially ring 2 more creatures out, right? It gives us a good Magicka saturation. Also, now we have 2 creatures that trade into this and survive. It's basically an unintended side effect. It's not like I consciously said they're going to play Dark Guardian here, but it just illustrates why that is better than potentially saving the ring charge. Now, we're going to drop these 2 and probably save this to play over here for the rollover. Again, we're still lane stacking because if they play another guard, you want maximum stuff to trade into it. That's one of the main advantages of this. They don't have many cards that punish you. Thinking out of the box, if they're a control scout that even runs like Giant Snake, that's not online until next turn. And even then, that just buys them a turn. So they're in the bat, they'll take out the 1, gain some health. Works out pretty well for us. So, oh, that's concerning. Our ideal scenario would have been drawing another 2-drop for that, but this is also not the end of the world.
For a midnight stroll.
I'm ready to join the circle.
Go ahead and load this guy up.
My destiny is fulfilled.
So yeah, we're worried about Drain Vitality since they did play Word Wall.
The forest is my cloak.
Leaf Lurker is solid. We're also potentially worried about Soul Terror because they did play the 1 Bat. None of these trade into this and survive, and so since they do not survive, we don't have any incentive to make that trade. And to be honest, the one creature that it can attack into right now is the one that we want to die the most.
Wrong place for a midnight stroll.
And
Do you not fear me, mortal? You should.
play Sower. Sower's a great play here because unless they have like Shadowfen, Priest, and Drain, you'll likely get the last gasp here, right? That 2-card combo could be something. They might just play Shadowfen, but even still, that means we're threatening lethal. So Sower's a great play here because it really puts them in the bind. So again, like, bad outcomes, like worst case scenarios. Alright, so there's a Drain. I have to assume we're going to see a second one for a level 3 here. Now if he has another one, then that's problematic. But that would also be all of his Drains, so...
Do my thank you.
Alright, now that bat was certainly problematic. This is a really good top deck for us, though. We don't want him gaining health, so sadly we have to make that trade. But we're going to go ahead and refuel. And that will give us some decent plays next turn, depending on what he does now to contest the Jarl.
Ride them down.
Come on then.
Alright, so what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and play this, because we want to get the damage in, and then we're likely going to Young Mammoth over here. And there's a couple of reasons for that. First, we swing here, because clearly we want the damage in, but being a 2/5, this now can't value trade here. It has to trade here, or he has to spend another card, which is good for us. But the reason that, unlike previous times where I've preached field lane's important, the reason you take this here is because if he were to have some sort of silence effect, then putting this here means he could silence this and take out the 4/4. Or if he has removal for this, he could take out the 4/4, right? So like if he has any sort of tricks, it means this doesn't threaten lethal. But now he has to deal with both cards over here and the one over here. So this is a time where splitting makes a little bit more sense. And the truth is he has to deal with this, and he has to deal with both of these because, unbeknownst to him, we've got 2 points of reach over here as well, so... Alright. And that is that.
Ride them down.
Come on then. I'll even let you swing first.
What a liar. I'll even let you swing first, and then proceeds to not let them swing. So that's it. That's 2 games. Clearly you can see why this deck is very ladder viable. It's just very efficient in turns like 2 through 5, which is exactly what you want out of a very aggressive mid-range deck. It's got good stats, it's got good reach, a little bit of card draw sprinkled in. This list obviously isn't settled, if you will. There are plenty of things that you could do to change it up, like if you like Ayla's Huntmate, that's fine. I'm running Earthbone Spinner, but if you like the Dushnik Archer instead, that's entirely fine. Like I said, Barrowstalker could just as easily be Protector of the Innocent, or if you don't think the Orc count is high enough for the Wood Orc Headhunters, you could run the 3/2 Orc that provides Breakthrough. I think that's a little bit overkill. I don't think that that's necessary, because you just need to have one Orc to pair with the Headhunter. It's not like you need full Orc synergy, but if it's something you're worried about, you could do that. And yeah, there you have it. That's Orc Warrior. As always, thanks for watching, and until next time, may you walk on warm sands.